Good evening, everyone. Can you hear? Hello?
Good evening.
I hope all of you can hear.
Good evening. Yes, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. Let's start. Welcome to the module of Engineer as a Manager. So I have been conducting this lecture for several years, and I hope that more than the content in the slide, what you can listen to me will enhance your knowledge and approach while writing your answers. With that, we will start. First of all, we need to identify several aspects of this module. That is because we need to understand what is an engineering and who's an engineer, basically. Then, who is a manager? What to manage? How to manage? Finally, we need to identify who we are. Basically, we need to question ourselves, who I am. So, in order to answer these questions, let us go through this lecture. Who is an engineer? Before that, we need to see what is engineering. Engineering is an activity essential for the needs of people, economic development, and provisions of services to society. So it involves the purposeful application of mathematical and natural sciences and a body of engineering, knowledge, technology, and techniques. It produces solutions of which the effects are predicted to the greatest degree possible in often uncertain contexts. Therefore, engineering is in the uncertain context. Whatever the solutions that we provide are predicted to a greatest degree. It may not be 100%, but to the greatest degree. So engineering, therefore, it must be carried out responsibly and ethically. Also, by using available resources efficiently. In coming slide, I will explain what is efficient. Be economic, safeguard, and health and safety is very important. Also, you all know today is the green environment. The whole world is talking about green environment. So it should be environmental sound and sustainable for the future. It is not for the present generation consumption. Whatever the engineering work that we all do, it should be sustainable. Then it should manage risk throughout the entire life cycle of a system. So engineering solutions are therefore it involving managing risk. It is not temporary thing. Then we will talk about the engineering practitioners. Who are they? Typical engineering activity requires several roles, including those of the engineer, engineering technologists, and engineering technicians, recognized as professional registration categories. Roles are defined by their distinctive competencies and their levels of responsibility to the public. That is, there may be a degree of overlap between roles. Also, the distinctive competencies together with their educational underpinnings are defined in the publication. That is, in the IEA, Graduate Attribute and Professional Competencies by International Engineering Alliance. You all can read that. I just mentioned just for your understanding before I come into the proper topic of engineering management. Then also we should know who are the engineering practitioners. This is process of development of an engineering professional in any of the categories. That is, the first stage is attainment of an accredited educational qualification. That is the graduate stage. Then purpose of engineering education. It is to build knowledge base and attributes. It is to continue learning and to proceed for formative development that will develop the competences required for independent practices. It is the formative development. So it is stage-wise from the graduate stage development that the engineer should have in order to become the engineering practitioner. Then purpose of formative development is to develop the competencies required for independent practice. As an engineer, for the independent practice in which the graduate worked with engineering practitioners. From an assistant role, individual and team responsibility until competence can be demonstrated at the level required for registration. I have mentioned in my first slide, we have to understand who we are. So at what stage we are, even through this lecture, we are heading to which direction and to become whom. Clear understanding of this is very much required. So it is from assistant role as an individual to reach team responsibilities, then and to demonstrate your individual capabilities to the required level of registration. The second stage is from formative development. Now we have completed the formative development to the professional registration. Several international accords provide for recognition of graduates of accredited program of each signatory by the remaining signatories. Washington Accord, you may have already come across this one, gone through, and provides for mutual recognition of programs accredited for the engineers track. The Sydney Accord establishes mutual recognition of accredited qualification for engineering technologies. Then, what does Dublin Accord say? It provides for mutual recognition of accredited qualifications for engineering technicians. Each jurisdiction may define performance indicators, that is, actions on the part of the candidate that demonstrate competence. For example, a design competency may be evident by the following performance. I am just explaining only one example so that you all will understand what it is. Identify and analyze a design planning requirement and draw up a detailed requirements specifications. Then synthesize a range of potential solutions to problem or approaches to project execution. Thereafter, evaluate potential approaches to meet requirements and their possible impacts. So there may be multiple approaches. You need to set it up and evaluate their possible impact. After that, you fully develop design of selection option. Then produce design documentation for implementation. Once the design is done, it is document for implement. This is just an example, the process of this engineering practitioner. Then coming on to the engineering management. What is engineering management? The generic management functions of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. These we call the key management functions. Planning, organizing, leading, and control. It applied together with engineering knowledge in context, including the management of projects, constructions, operations, maintenance, even in the business. So what is engineering fundamentals? A systematic formulating of engineering concepts and principles based on mathematical and natural sciences to support applications. Those are the fundamentals of engineering. Then what about the engineering problem? It is a problem that exists in any domain that be involved by the applicant of engineering knowledge and skills and generic competencies. So let us see the nature and scope of management right now. This is the proper subject we are step into as an engineer and a manager. Why management is required? We need to understand. If we have enough resources, if we have enough funds, if we have enough time, what significant that the management role will take place? So it is very less. But in this today's world, the resources are limited. You all know funding, timing, then the other material, men, all these are resources. They are limited. So we need to have a proper management to optimize the effect or the end result of this utilization. Other thing is all these organization deal with uncertainty and unexpected events. You all know we all are in the VUCA world. That is vulnerability, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity is very much in this world. We never know what will happen next day, next month, next year. That much uncertainty and vulnerability is there. Therefore, we need to understand this. Then cope up with diverse and far-reaching challenges. We are advanced in technology. You all know during the COVID time what has happened. Have we expected any kind of situation that we all are in a very experienced era? We all experience tsunami. We all experience COVID, and even now today we all are experiencing some kind of war, a fierce war in the world. You all know the effect of those things to our world and our country, this part of the world. Then why management is required? We need to understand to deal with all this environment. So to understand this environment is very much important for you all to act as a good engineering manager. Then what is the modern approach? This is the shift towards new ways of working enabled by technology puts additional demand on today's managers. Modern context, managers need a new approach that relies less on command and control. Earlier, it was mostly top to bottom driven command and control. But today, it is more coordination and communication. If you do the organizational behavior subjects, you all know the matrix, the communication, top to bottom, bottom to top, cross, or the cross-functional communication. Today, it is not command and control which driven from the top to bottom, but it is very much coordination and communication through a matrix type of environment. The field of management is undergoing a revolutionary that asks managers to do more with less, as I explained you. That is optimizing resources. When you all do your projects, when you all join the companies and work, your hierarchy will ask every time cost benefits, return on investment. These are very common tasks and also key performance indicators. So do more with less, that is optimizing your resources. Then engage all employees. This is called the participative approach. Today, you cannot isolate and direct. Every human resource is very important. From the gatekeeper to peon to clerk to your team maker to all the clerical staff to your subordinate staff, engineers, and also from your hierarchy. It is three-dimensional. It is not only top. There are three layers: top layer, parallel layer, and down below. So when you are engaging in any other project or in your organizational work, it is the whole employees should be participant. Whole doesn't mean everybody at every time. It is need to know or a group of selected or maybe something like that. It is up to you to decide depending upon your task or the role or the job. So you need to have the key principle is participative approach. Your decision making If you take alone, sometimes it may go wrong. So therefore, you will get more inputs and reach the correct decisions. Now, other thing is to see changes rather than stability as the nature of things. Today, when we work in our environment, we just work. We can just survive. We can just do the day-to-day work, even in the company, even in our organization, whether it's government or any other. Like now, for an example, what has happened to Nokia? They thought they are the best. They were remaining in the same thing. But there are so many other mobile scam, application scams. What happened? So they could not sustain. So there should be a change every time with the environment in order to adopt the change and to be in par with the change. So this is called another way, the technology gap. As an engineer, we all know what is technology gap. So we have to be in par with the technology. Could you please mute the mic, someone? Then the other thing is to inspire vision and cultural values that allow people to create a truly collaborative and productive workplace. In this part of the world, South Asia or third world countries, this part is very much lacking. So you have to, as a manager, as a leader, inspire vision and cultural values that allow people to create a truly collaborative and productive workplace. So this value inculcating also very important in this field of management. So these are the revolutionary aspects that as an engineer and a manager for you all to deal with. This approach differs significantly from a traditional mindset that emphasizes that as I told, top-down control, employee separation and specialization. Earlier it was there, and management by impersonal measurement and analysis. That is the traditional approach. Now, if I say the future or the modern day approach is making a difference. As a manager, today and tomorrow requires integrating solid, tried and true management skills. That is what we are learning today. Integrated, solid, tried and true management skills required by an engineer. That is today's and future engineering management in order to cope up with the ever-changing, developing technology and other diverse environment. This with innovative approaches that emphasize the human touch, enhance flexibility, and engage employees' hearts and minds as well as their bodies. We are working with human. Though robotic environment, AI is everywhere, is there, but you cannot get rid of human touch. So therefore, at the end of the day, how you deal with your employees, their hearts and minds, how touched you are, how you look after them, how much bond you have with them, how much flexible in your decision making is very important in this management skills. So in order to manage this human resource, you need to learn a lot than the material management. Let us see. Now move on to the management definitions. Like Stoner and Friedman has said, it is the process of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling the work of organization, members, and of using all available resources of the organization to reach the organization goal. Organizations are defined by vision, mission, objectives in order to achieve their goals. So approach is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Organizations are the two or more people work together in a structured way. Just because of two or more people get together, it will not become an organization. It has to have a functional structure, communication structure. Then they all should have a specific goal or set of goals in achieving. Otherwise, it will be diversified. Therefore, you need to understand what is organization when where you are living. It's not your isolated living. I'm emphasizing again, in any organization, you should, as an engineer, you should be very much understood. It is not you alone, but it is the two or more group of people working in a structured way toward a specific goal to achieve some end result predefined. So organizations bring together knowledge, people, and raw materials to perform tasks no individuals could do alone. Another definition by Griffin W. Rickey: management is a set of activities including planning and decision making, organizing, leading, and controlling. This is more or less same and directed at an organizational resources. As I said, human, financial, physical, and information. With the aim of achieving organizational goals in an, again, there are two words, efficient and effective manner. He's bringing two words here. So other everything remains same. So how? Effectiveness. What is effectiveness? As per the Peter Drucker, the ability to determine appropriate objectives, doing the right things. How it differs from the efficiency? The efficiency is doing the things right. The ability to minimize the use of resources in achieving organizational objectives. As I told earlier, resources are limited. Then, using the minimum resources, if you can achieve that objective or the goal, that is doing the right things right with those resources, is an efficiency. But effectiveness is differ. It is the ability to determine appropriate objective and doing the right thing, just like that. Let us see the principles of combinations of effectiveness and efficiency. So these are the four windows. This is effective, ineffective, efficient, and inefficient. What will happen in the first window? If you are effective, if you are efficient, you and your organization will thrive. You will be succeeded. Then you are very effective. Then, but you are inefficient. Still you can survive, but you will not thrive. You are efficient, but ineffective. So you are not driving toward your organizational goal, but you are doing it efficiently with the available resources. But you are not driving towards the organizational goal. What will happen? Your organization will die slowly. What will happen if you are ineffective and both inefficient? You will die quickly. Your organization will die quickly. So therefore, you need to understand what will happen, the effect of these two phenomena. So Mary Parker Pullett has said, the art of getting things done through people. This definition recognizes the role and importance of the other people. As Peter Drucker said, the job of manager is to give direction to their organization, provide leadership, and decide how to use organizational resources to accomplish goals. So this is important. Job of managers. You are an engineering manager, is to give direction to their organization. While providing the leadership, let us see how to provide the leadership and decide how to use organization resources as we discussed to accomplish set goals. Manager create the right system, condition, and environment that enable organization to survive and thrive beyond the tenure specific supervisor or manager. A shared sense of purpose and pride, a passion for change, that is open-mindedness. It's not very narrow-minded, but they have the passion to change and willingness to take risk. The one who will not take risk will not develop. You all know that. So there should be a risk taken, but it is called calculated risk. So that is why from the beginning, we discussed engineering management towards the most possible better solution we are working out. An obsession with people and making them the best they can be. What is open-mindedness? It is described as the desire to see and experience new things. This may be just theoretically to understand, but what is the requirement of you all as an engineer is to understand and practically to be like that. This open-mindedness consists of two factors: cosmopolitan orientation and attitude of openness to others. You can be open to others, values and practices, and cultural flexibility, the willingness to experiment with different environment. Then you will have to have the open-minded inquiry. How? Acquire information about trends, events, opportunities, and threats in the environment through scanning, direct experience, imitation, or problem-solving inquiries in a more thoughtful and systematic fashion, in the belief that all decisions start with the environment. So I would like to emphasize something at this point. So I have gone through several years of teaching this module, lecturing this module, and correcting the papers. But what I could not see, there's a gap between this part of when you are answering or writing in your answers. So you need to understand, even to the question that we give, it should be inquired open-minded. You need to understand all these aspects: trends, event, opportunities, threats in the environment. Once you scan the environment, bringing all other factors what we discussed today in a different manner, it will be a good tool for you to formulate your answers to the right direction, having a complete answer. So I want you all to understand that perspective beforehand. Then only you will gather knowledge, rather mere just to extract something and fill the paper, and don't get into that. So the subject that you are studying today is not just to get the qualification of this chartered, but it is well beyond that. It is throughout your life. So you will come to know the effect of that one day. Therefore, study by heart and just deliver, you will gain. This is what I can tell. Once again, we just mentioned about the planning. It is the process of establishing goals and suitable course of action for achieving those goals. So when it comes to the planning, for an example, it may be your own individual planning, going from home to the city to do some shopping, which has been told by your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your husband. So you need to plan. Think about that individual process. Okay, you need to set up your car. You need to set up your time. You need to set up your route. You need to set up your finance or the credit card. And you need to get the instruction from your wife or husband, what to buy, where to buy, from what cost to buy. See, in small individual event or the activity, how much planning is required? This route is traffic, we will take that route. Okay, today is raining, we need to take an umbrella. Likewise, now if we are to do such planning, that is called mental appreciation. So mentally we are doing, but we are not doing it right in there. But mentally we are experiencing. That is called mental appreciation. Same person, your boss is giving you a huge task. Okay, this needs to be completed with this 6 months. You plan it. How much planning is required? The same mental planning. Now you are, because of the complexity, you are getting into the paper. Okay. There's a saying, fail to plan is plan to fail. Fail to plan is plan to fail. So if you don't plan, you will fail. You are planning to fail. Therefore, this stage is very much required. In order to do this stage, you require a lot of environmental scan. Okay, you need to understand every aspect of the environment, which we are slowly discussing during previous slides. So, environmental study. Likewise, when I ask the question, you need to really read it, understanding the total environment of that question and answer. You have to get it to your mind, do a mental appreciation for the full scenario and get into the job. Then after that, organize yourself. Reflects how the organization tries to accomplish the plan. Organizing means once you plan it, you have to organize yourself. How to do it? Okay, car. Open the car, start the car, take the purse and organize, take a bag to put the things. Likewise, organize. It involves arranging and allocation of work, authority. Okay, like you call driver, like the small thing, like you call this group of people to do that job and empower them, authority. Authority means depending upon the task, you will have to divide. Authority should be delegated. And resources among organizational members so that they can be achieve an organizational goal. There are certain other tools that you all must have known, certain graph to be plotted, certain charts to be plotted, like Gantt charts or some other tools. So plot it and see whether planning has really organized in order to go for the next step. Now let us see the next step. Now you have to lead it, okay? And creating a shared culture and values, communicating goals to employees throughout the organization and influencing employees with desires to perform the task-related activities of group members or an entire organization at a higher level. This is where you require your management and leadership skills to lead. Let us discuss later what are those things. And then the control is the process that ensure actual activities conforms to planned activities. So you will have to set it up KPIs and you will have to set the feedback mechanism. And if there are lapses, gray areas, after monitoring mechanism, you will have to support or give the corrections to the right direction. That is controlling. Now coming on to the management skills. Now, if this is what you need to practice, we have theoretically discussed something, what is to be done, how is to be understood the environment, and now what are the management skills that you require to do this? That is, to perform these functions, managers requires a range of skills. One is conceptual skills. How to develop the conceptual skills? Conceptual still comes with the cognitive ability to see organization as a whole. I told you, you will have to scan it, see from the bird's eye. View of the bird's eye will provide to do the environmental scanning and understand. This is the cognitive ability to see the organization as a whole. Then the relationship between part, who's doing what, where, when, you need to understand. Then these skills involve the manager's thinking. Information processing, very much required. Without information, correct information, valid information, facts, figures, you cannot take decision. So after that, coordinating, integrating, and planning abilities. These are the conceptual skills. These conceptual skills involved with some other factors in order for you to do that, you need to have this kind of information and processing. Then what are the human skills? Human skill is the ability to work with, understand, and motivate other people as individuals or group. We discussed. As a leader, as a manager, you should have some human skills to motivate other people as individuals or group of individuals. Then, as workforce diversity, uncertainty, and social turbulence, which we discussed, increased, human skill become even more important. When you are being given a project or task or huge number of tasks, so understanding the diversities, uncertainties, and all these pandemics and tsunamis and bad weather conditions and other landslides wherever you work, it is very important. So therefore, human skill become even more important to deal with these type of situations. What are the qualities of successful relation building? Trust, very important. It is two-dimension. Trust is very important when firms exchange in situation where perceived outcome of trust is uncertain and vulnerable. Credibility. A firm's belief that its partners stand by its word, fulfill promised role obligation, and is sincere. You yourself has to be there. You need to motivate your workforce to build up these things. It is not overnight done. It will take some time. First, they need to believe you as a leader. With that only, you will involve your conceptual and those skills to develop this. Benevolence. Firm belief that the partner is interested in the firm's welfare, is willing to accept short-term dislocation, will not take unexpected action that could have a negative impact of the firm. So those are the aspects that you need to know. Then the commitment. It is the implicit or explicit pledge of relations continued between exchange partners. Also, commitment implies a willingness to make short-term sacrifices to realize long-term benefits. Commitment generally does not change often. A key distinct characteristic of commitment is that parties spontaneously and purposefully engage resources to maintain the relationship. An auto commitment provides a foundation for the development of social norms of governance, which are considered important mechanisms for regulating long-term relational exchanges and reducing opportunism. So these are self-explanatory. And now move on to the relative skills. This is for effective performances at different levels of management. What are the different levels of management? Top management, middle level management, and lower level management. What do they do by the top level management? Suppose if you take the country, what is the top level management? That is the parliament. Subsequently, others. So what do they do? What do the parliament supposed to do? They take what type of decision? That is the strategic level decision. Likewise, in your organization, your board of management, board of directors, where the chairman and all the MDs are involved, they are on the top management. They take strategic level decision making. What does it require to take the strategic level decision making? You required the conceptual skills. We discussed in the previous slide what are the conceptual skills. Please remember those things. conceptual skills are required by the top management people to take the strategic level decisions. If you don't develop the conceptual skills as a manager, as a leader, an engineer, when you go top level, your decisions will be wrong. Your planning will be wrong. Therefore, you require to build up the conceptual skills. Coming on to the middle level management, what do they require? Middle level management require a lot of human relation skills. Though I have told conceptual skills are required by the top management, it doesn't mean the middle level management does not require. They require, by the level of requirement is minimal compared to the top level management. That is why I have categorized. Middle level management mostly deal with human relation and the skills. Then the lower level management, that is called the tactical level. The tactical level management require the technical skills. What are the technical skills? That is the ability to use the procedures, techniques, and knowledge of the specialized field. So, tactical level is the lower level, middle level is the operational level, top level is the strategic level. Hope you understand. Then moving on to the managerial role. Interpersonal roles. I'll just go quickly through this. It is mentioned, figurehead is the symbolic head, obliged to perform a number of routine duties or a legal or social nature. It is already defined as a figurehead. He just has to carry out. Responsible for motivational activation of subordinates, responsible for staffing, training, and associated duties. And what is the other interpersonal role? As a liaison, maintains self-developed network of outside contacts and informers who provide favors and information. Then information role as a monitor. So he need to monitor. He need to seek and receive wide variety of special information. In today's competitive world, this is very much required. And much of his current, it should be validity and credibility of data and information. Fact, figures are very important. Sometimes it is called, you may get disinformation and misinformation. Then you are gone. Huge volume of information is available in the media, electronic media, mass media, printed media. You all can get corrected, but to develop throughout understanding of organizations and environment emerges as nerve center of internal and external information about the organization. Then as a disseminator, transmit information received from outsiders or from other subordinates. That dissemination means what are the information that you have got, you process it and get it as an intelligent or some form of credible source and disseminate to others. Then as a spokesperson, transmit information to the outside of organization, plans, policies, actions, results. So these things are very important because otherwise your subordinates or the down below will get wrong information and act wrongly. When the things are exaggerated, you are in trouble. So very important. Then moving on to the decisional roles. Decisional role as an entrepreneur. Searches organizations and its environment for opportunities and initiates improvements projects to bring about changes. Supervises design of certain project as well. Disturbance handler, the responsible for coercive actions when organization faces important unexpected disturbances. Resource allocator, responsible for allocating of organizational resources of all kinds, in effect, the making the approval of all significant organizational decisions. Negotiator, responsible for representing the organization at major negotiations. Leadership plays a vital role in organization in providing directions and facilitating the process that enables organization to achieve their goals and objectives. Leadership definition: the process of directing and influencing the task-related activities of group members. The process of moving groups of individuals in a desired direction through largely non-coercive means. I'll just flash this. I think you all can read. Leaders not only direct influence the behavior of members, but their actions also influence the perceptions of members, lead to norms and expectation of appropriate conduct that become ingrained in the organization's climate. It is called commonly culture eats strategy for breakfast. What do you mean by that? Every day your strategy, if you do the same strategy every day, that it becomes a culture. We all see subcultures in various parts of Sri Lanka, subcultures or the cultures in various parts of South Asia, likewise Asia. What happens is over a period of time, they are engaged in similar kind of activity, it becomes a culture. Therefore, in your organization, if you involve in good things, good approach of engineering management, it becomes your strategy daily. Daily strategy become your organizational culture. I hope you understand. The leader's action both directly and indirectly establishes the ethical tone of an organization. Who is to be done? This is to be done by the leader. That is why your importance comes here. Leaders can impact on organization outcomes through either direct means or indirect means. Direct means what? Formulating corporate level strategy. Or by indirect means, effectively managing the symbols that help build commitment of employees to organization. Certain, you don't speak, you don't set up your things in writing, but you set up your environment, help understood by looking, by hearing. People get motivated in your organization, in your project, to do that project effectively. Just a simple example, during tea time, you play a music, something, they get motivated. When they are walking, they see a signboard. They are getting more every day in front of a lift, you put something which you want to convey. You are not telling, but you are just displaying. They themselves will understand. This is the indirect means. There are so many ways to do this. Some people take it in a direct way. Some people take it in an indirect mean. Most complex person in this world is the human. We don't know because their minds are like Velcro. Velcro means it goes and stuck there. Again goes to some other place and stuck there. Now I know there are 51 participants here. How many minds are here? But in the same time, some mind go to Australia, UK, USA, and all the cricket match or some other match and come back. Isn't it? Am I correct? This is what. So focus is not. Everybody is in the same manner. Therefore, as leaders, as managers, you need to study direct means and indirect means of doing things. So these are for your practical implementation when you go higher and higher in your organization as an engineering person. What are the sources of power? According to John Prince and Bertram Raven, reward power. Reward power is the person's ability to reward another person for carrying out orders or meeting performance requirement. You do that, I'll give this. Then coercive power. Influence ability to punish the influence for not meeting. If you don't do this, you will get this punishment. I hope you understand. Legitimate power. It is the exit when subordinates acknowledge that the influencer is entitled to exert influence within certain bounds. It is also implied that the influencee has no obligation to accept this power. Legally given to you. It is for you to practically implement legitimate power, or to show that you have this, but you don't expert, but you are just showing. This is the smart way of getting things done. Okay. Then expert power. What is expert power? Is based on the perception or belief that the influencer has some relevant expertise or special knowledge that the influencee does not have. Sometimes new doctors come, sometimes experienced nurses are there. Experienced nurses' power is their experience, but how they expert power they implement through their expertise. So that person need to acquire this experience not by doing everything, but maybe some other means, reading, listening, and acquiring experience quickly. It becomes your power. This is very important. Other thing is the referent power is based on the influence's desire to identify with or imitate the influencer. That is leader's ability to inspire and influence others. That is your quality. Be like that. Be an example. This is the referent power. You all can use this type of power. Whatever, if you are lacking of something, you can develop. If you have something, you can practice and further develop. So with all those things, let us see the leader's role. Leadership roles vary in terms of the level of the organization. Katz and Kahn has told Mitzberg have noted that the qualitatively different nature of managerial and leaders' role across the levels. In the same vein, Day and Lord claim that leadership at lower level is qualitatively different from upper level leadership. We have talked about 3 levels: top, middle, and lower. Strategic level, operational level, and the tactical level. So qualitatively, the leadership role is different. These all are leaders. Even the tactical level person is a leader. Middle level also leader. But their levels qualitatively is different. You need to understand. Leaders at the top level create organizational structure, formulate policies, develop corporate. I told. Middle level leaders interpret, collaborate with structure, policy, and strategy. Lower level, like technician, I have told, they have technical knowledge, reward, sanction to administer existing structure. So that is the levels, 3 levels that you need to understand. In the same context, Webster has told content that the corporate level leaders define what business the company, determine the mission, vision, and the shape and structure of the firm. You all understand that. All the top level, they define vision, mission, and all the goals, objectives. At the business unit level, what happened? They determine the orientation the firm adopt to compete, including the particular core competencies developed at the functional level to achieve the whatever the things set by the top level. So this business unit level, they try to develop the functional level function to achieve this through the competitive advantage to achieve these objectives. Then functional leaders facilitate the creation of specific capabilities that contribute to core competencies. So they create it based on the core competencies. Now let us move on to the leadership approaches. There are 3 approaches: trait approach, behavioral approach, and contingency approach. What is the trait approach? It evolves the great man theory. From the great man theory, it is brighter, more extroverted, self-confident, assertive, sociability, and self-confidence. Trait approach concerned with identifying the personality trait of a leader. In searching for measurable leadership trait, researchers have taken 2 approaches. Compare the traits of those who have emerged as leaders with the traits of those who have not, like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, or Winston Churchill, or some other Anagarika Dharmapala. Likewise, you try to compare after identifying. Compare the traits of effective leaders with those of ineffective leaders. That person, that leader has this leader doesn't have this. This is the trait approach. Then what is the behavioral approach? It is looking at the behavior of the leader and success or failure. It depend on the leadership function, task related or problem solving, group maintenance, some social functions. Then the leadership style, task oriented or employee style. What are the traits of the leadership? It is leadership trait refers to the qualities of that leader. Effective leader would have, for an example, effective communication, self-motivated, people-oriented, emotionally stable, accountable, and responsible. Bad leader, too bossy. He's not a leader. He's trying to dictate term. He's trying to become a boss. Fearful of change. He is afraid of you. Don't change. I might get blasted from the top. Unable to communicate effectively. He cannot communicate effectively to others. Lacking empathy. He doesn't have any empathy on the employees or the others. Inconsistent. Today telling one thing, tomorrow telling one thing. And indecisive. Doesn't take decisions. These are the bad leaders' traits. Moving on to the motivation. Very important. First, we have to get self-motivated by ourselves. Then we can motivate the others. Looking onto the definition, motivation is the set of forces that cause people to behave in certain ways. Humans' psychological characteristics that contribute to persons' degree of commitment. The driving force within individuals that impels them to action. This driving force is produced by a state of tension, which exists as the result of an unfulfilled need. So you have to set up some target. If you have a competitive person or enemy or somebody, some company, then you have some motivation to do that, to meet that. Positive and negative motivation. Motivations can be positive or negative in direction. We may feel a driving force towards some objects or conditions, or driving force away from some object or conditions. For an example, think about how a person can get influenced by associating another. Contemporary views of motivation. What are the contemporary views? Contemporary theories what motivate people. One is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, ERG theory, two-factor theory of motivation. Physiological needs. They are hunger, thirst, shelter, sex, etc. Safety needs, security, protection. Social, affection, belongingness, acceptance, and friendships. Esteem means self-respect, autonomy, recognition. Self-actualization is what you are capable of becoming. Let us see with all these things how the Maslow has put these things in the order. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, we have discussed the basic needs like physiological needs, basic need, shelter, food, etc. Then the safety and security need, social need, esteem, ego need, and finally the self-actualization needs. Then again come the two-factor theory that Patrick Herzberg. Jobs dissatisfaction, security, company policy, supervision, relationship with supervisors, work conditions, salary, relationship with peers. Factors that lead to job satisfaction or achievements, work itself, responsibility, recognition, advancement, growth. These are self-understood, and how to put these things as to do the job satisfaction is how you manage yourself, your employees. Two-factor theory talk about the hygiene factor. What are the motivational factors are towards if you increase the motivational factors, it will increase the satisfaction. So hygiene factors. So if you reduce the hygiene factors, it will drive from dissatisfaction to satisfaction. So we need to reduce the hygiene factors and increase the motivational factors. In the middle is no satisfaction and no dissatisfaction. Some people lies there also. So ERG theory, that is existence, relatedness, and the growth. Theory of job motivation that says people strive to meet hierarchy of existence, relatedness, and the growth needs. If effect to reach one level of needs are frustrated, individuals will regress to a lower level. Existence. It is connected with survival, physiological need. So first you have to accept relatedness. Maintaining interpersonal and social relationship. You cannot live isolatedly. You need people around you to live with. Growth. It is the personal creativity for positive influence to growth. Moving all these things into one frame, Herzberg's two-factor theory, it talk about motivators and hygiene factors. Maslow hierarchy of need, it talk the higher level self-actualization, then the esteem needs, then the social needs, security, and the basic is the physiological needs. And ERG theory of Alpert's is the growth needs, relatedness, and the existence needs. Other thing is the process theories on expectancy theory, a theory of motivation that says that people choose how to behave from among alternative causes of behavior based on their expectation of what there is to gain from each behavior. Assumptions are behavior is determined by a combination of factors in the individuals and factors in the environment. Individuals make concise decisions about their behavior in the organization. Individuals have different needs, desires, and goals. These are assumptions. Individuals decide between alternative behavior of the basic of their expectation that a given behavior will lead to a desired outcome. So, knowing all these things, what are the recommendations to managers? Think a little. We have talked about some theories, some traits, some phenomena, some aspects. So, what do we recommend to our managers? Determine the rewards valued by each employee. Determine the performance you desire. Make the performance level attainable. So don't set it up wrong task. Then you are wrong as a manager. Link the reward to perform. You need to monitor who's doing what and get the actual information and reward for those who are desirable. Analyze what factors might counteract an effectiveness of the reward. Giving reward must sometimes might boomerang. So you have to analyze what factors might counteract the effectiveness of the reward. It is not an easy task. Okay, there are a lot of things inside. Just try to motivate by using your reward power through the performance. Others might get demotivated. This is where you need to be very careful. Most of these things are sometimes your approach, your behavior. When it comes to your examination, point of your writing, answering the questions, how much you grab these things together and put the crux into the paper on through your proper approach is your ability, your capability, rather your level of knowledge, which will be judged in this section of the management. Make sure the reward is adequate. Also, just for the sake of giving, don't give it. Then decision making. Aim. Aiming at what? FASA means factors affecting selection of aim. You need to consider all the factors before selecting your aim. Then factors you need to consider and do the deduction. You need to evaluate all these things, process, and come to a deduction and make your possible course of action as an approach to that problem or to achieve that task. Then out of all the courses actions, best course of action. You can go from that route, this route, this route. There are 4 routes to go to town from your home. Evaluate the aim, then the other factors, then courses of action 1, 2, 3, 4. And out of that, this is the best course of action selected. Then plan. Okay, I am going through this route with this car, with this money, and this is my plan. Then after that, implement. This is decision-making process. Communication, very important aspect. Level of communication according to the type of activities performed. For an engineer graduate defined in International Engineering Alliance, you can read. I just put it just to wake you up. Washington Code 9, communicate effectively and inclusively on complex engineering activities with the engineering community and with society at large. You are communicating with the engineering community for implementation of a project or task, plus with social at large. Then such as being able to comprehend and write effective reports and design documentation. Make effective presentation taking into account cultural, language, and learning differences. Effective communication, the process of sending a message in such a way that the message received is as close in meaning as possible to the message intended. Then effective communication is receiver oriented, not media oriented. Just look at this chart. One side sender and the other side receiver. The noise is in between. So there are things which will be encoded the similar manner that has to be encoded. There will be a response from the receiver which is to be received by the sender as a feedback. Whenever you have some error in this connectivity, then become a problem. Their ideas, feelings, and emotions then should be converted into some form, and through the verbal, body language, or the written form or electronic media, whatever. Sender will encode it, send to the messenger, and the receiver message will be decoded. Same idea, feeling, but in between noise is there. So therefore, you need to take the feedback through the response and recheck for ensuring your message has received by the recipient correctly, accurately. Functions in communication in management. Okay, according to Scott Scott and Michelle. Communication serves four major functions with a group of organizers: control, motivate, emotions, expressions, and information. What is control? Organization authority hierarchies and formal guidelines that employees are required to follow. Motivation: clarifying to employees what is to be done, how well they are doing, what can be done to improve performance if it is subpar, it is below. Emotional expression: for many employees, their workplace is a primary source for social interaction. Most of the employers, they spend more time in their workplace. Their communication is their normal habit. They go to the canteen or that there. So you have to provide a conducive environment for them to freely express their ideas or the feeling. But remember not to group together and to build up something antagonizing your organization. That you need to be careful just to free them. This is focusing only for them, not to keep them very pressurized. Just go there, just laugh, even to the hierarchy, let it be there. Okay, that is emotional expression. Let them do that. Then information. It plays a big role in facilitating decision making. It provides the information that individuals and groups need to make decisions by transmitting the data to identify or evaluate alternative. I have told this information, fact figures should be validated, accurate. So 4 regions of information known and not known by self and others. Let us see this window. Known by others. They know. Unknown by others. They don't know. Known by me. Known by self and unknown by self. What will happen? You don't know, they don't know. Totally unknown. You know, they don't know. Sorry, known by others. They know, you don't know. There's a blind spot. Unknown by others, unknown by you. Known by you, that is false France. Known by you, you know, but others don't know. That is called false France. So, known by others, that means others know, you also know. That is the arena that you need to work. So, this blind spot has to be avoided. False front has to be avoided. And coming to the arena, this unknown is very dangerous. So, through the proper communication, this information is required to be shared to work in the arena. Otherwise, become very much problem in your organization with respect to information and communication. So, less, the feedback is more. You need to have less feedback is required in the arena and more feedback is required toward the blind spot and the unknown. Also, more exposure is required in the false front area, less exposure is in the arena. So these are the 4 ways to deal with. When it comes to the communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication. Verbal communication is oral and written. Just to for you to understand, I think at this stage you all know all these things. What are the barriers to effective communication? Different frame of reference. Individuals can interpret the same communication differently based on their experience. The result variation in the encoding and decoding process. When the encoding decoding process are like, communication is most effective. I told you, when they are different, communication is that diagram explained. Then the communication overload is the noise, emotional reactions, anger, love, defensiveness, hate, jealousy, fear. These are very much dangerous. You need to manage. When you are, otherwise you will influence this one, your own anger to other people, that is emotional reactions. Improving communication, two separate tasks. Improve message, that is the information they wish to transmit. Improve one's understanding what other people are trying to communicate to them. One must become better encoder and decoder, must strive not only to be understood, but also to understand. Not only you understanding, but you need them to be understood. Technique for improving communication, following up, self-explanatory, regulating information flow. I know you can read it and understand. Then utilizing feedback. Empathy improves the ability to put oneself in the other person's role and assume the viewpoint and emotions of that person. Then simplifying language, self-explanatory, effective listening. You need to be a good listener. Stop talking. Put the speaker at ease. Show the speaker you want to listen. Remove distractions. Emphasize with the speaker. Be very patient. This is another very important aspect, perceptual distortion. How you perceive things. You can read lot this aspect in the internet. Perceptual distortion happens when the stated view differ from an ordinary reaction. This is a component of individual contrast for instances in perceptual styles and is theoretically not the same as mental tips and optical dreams. As recognition relies upon the perceiver's present perspective, part and conception that could simply be mistakes in the explanation. Let us see what are they. Stereotype. It is about putting away general data about social gathering, race, sex, what happened really. As essential part of this that they regularly contain data about stable identity attributes. Stereotyping enables us to anticipate conduct since they encode relationship between social classifications, circumstances, and practices. What are the few examples? It is often that men are telling that only earning members of the family and the women are only meant for household work. This is what we think, but reality it is not. This is the general perception. Halo effect is where we accept that since individuals are great at completing task A, they will be great at doing B, C, D. Understood? This person is doing good in this job. Therefore, I put to other job as well. As a manager, as an engineering manager, you are going to be failed. Because you think just because this person is good for this job, you think this person is good for that job also. That is called halo effect. That is a perceptual distortion. But no, you need to really evaluate with the factors and come to a conclusion. Then selective perception. Procedure by which one just sees what he or she feels is correct, totally disregarding contradictory perspective. You just put your specs and see. Whether it is red, you will see red. If you put specs green, you will see green. The way you look at it, you don't see others' perspective. This often happen in real life where someone comes and tells you good deeds about a third person and mentions only one flaw. We tend to ignore all the positive aspect and concentrate only on the negative aspect which was informed to us, and we start forming an opinion about the third person. This is how it happened. This projection is what type of mechanism in which undesirable emotions are uprooted onto someone's else. For an example, husband who has a hostile nature might attribute his hostility to his wife and say she has an anger management. Already husband is having, but telling you have a problem. Likewise, you are projecting your problem to others. This is also a problem. You need to understand as an engineering manager all these four aspects and try to minimize, try to avoid as much as possible. Try to develop yourself not to have that perception, distortion of the perception. Now, knowing all these things, now we have discussed about perceptual distortion, about the leadership traits, communication skills, then like interpersonal skill, all other skills. Then we have talked about the management functions, key management functions, their definitions, and then again, moving back to the previous slides, we have started with certain terminologies. Who's an engineer? Who's an practitioner? What is the engineering? And through that, how best this engineer and engineering management to be proper through the leaderships and managerial skills. The whole crux of the lecture here is how you behave, act as an engineering manager. Now you are an engineer. With this building up these managerial skills, which involve the skills that which we have talked about, perspective that we have talked about, the environment or area that we have talked about, with all those factors, how best to get the organizational aims and objectives through your limited resources with your capability, with your ability as a manager, as a leader, driving all the engineering aspects to reach your organizational objectives is your responsibility, your task, your competency. So I hope this, with these things, now you will be able to think, who am I? Yourself. You are an engineer and a manager. Okay? You are going to become a manager, engineering manager. You have got through all your qualifications, become associate member, and you have completed all your degrees, internships, and other practical employments. Now, going further as a chartered engineer, you need to understand the managerial aspect of the engineer, which is very important. Otherwise, if you do not manage these resources, men, material, funds, and through the proper planning, organizing, leading, conducting, leading, and controlling mechanism, it becomes fail. I told you very basic one, from your home to going to town for shopping and coming. The same phenomena applied, the huge project, multi-million project doing. Only the scale differs. Scale differs. What I want you all to understand is, from this mental appreciation, you develop your theoretical application. Plotting down things, collecting data, structuring, having plans, then organizing things in order to conduct the next phase. After conducting, leading and controlling, and getting the feedback and giving the adjustment to the gray areas or the lagging areas for you all to be success in your career. I hope this lecture has given you enough information to think who you are, and you are an engineer and a manager now. And I hope not limiting to your paper, if you can carry out day-to-day activities in your organization to a project as a sample, start with all these aspects. Slowly you will develop and you can become a good engineering manager. So I hope all of you have understood the concept of it, the functionality of it, and also the importance of it. So with that, I would like to conclude my presentation. If you all have any doubt, you can email to me or call me, no problem. And I will share this presentation to the authority. They will publish and you can take the slides from that. Whoever has missed out any slide or reading any issue, I hope you all can go through and understand. If there's any query, you may please drop an email or talk to me. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
sir.